As-Salamualaikum, warahmatullahi, wabarakatuhu, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well. So today we're going to be talking about Islamic virtues of having a pet. Now, for those of you who don't know, I actually do have a pet myself now, finally. And her name is Lola the Bun. So yeah, she is a crackhead, like let me tell you, and an absolute menace. But she is freaking hilarious. I love having her around. She's awesome. You know, she seems so sweet and innocent, but on the outside, but man, let me tell you, she is definitely a menace when others are not around. But anyway, so having a pet has so many opportunities for good deeds in Islam. Just by you feeding this animal, whether it be a cat, a bird, a bunny, whatever animal you have at home, just by you feeding this animal, like I said, you have a great opportunity of receiving a lot of sadaqah or charity and good deeds for taking care of your animal, cleaning up their litter, making sure that they're well groomed, taken care of medically. All that stuff obviously goes into play when you're talking about raising an animal. So as we know, there's the hadith of the woman who was a lady of the night, and she went and she saw a dog that was panting of thirst and was, I believe he was actually dying of thirst. And the woman reached down into the well with her shoe and managed to, or some type of vessel, I don't exactly know, I think it was her shoe if I remember correctly, but scooped out some water and gave it to the panting dog. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that she was actually forgiven for her sins because of this very act. And the contrary is also true. Now, we also have another woman who abused her pet cat that she had, kept it in captivity, and I don't know if she was beating it or not feeding it properly and all this stuff. And then eventually, I believe the cat ended up dying. And Rasulullah told her that, she would be punished in the hellfire for this. You have kind of, two extremes, so to speak. Now, contrary to what some may believe in terms of cultural stigma against dogs and such, the Prophet actually did not hate dogs per se or anything like that. In fact, there is a hadith that even says that the Prophet ﷺ actually gave Aisha a pet puppy, and Angel Jibril actually told him that he should give the dog away, because, or at least not keep it in the house, because angels do not enter the home in which a dog is present. However, keeping them inside of the house, obviously we know from hadith, we can see obviously that this is not permissible. But this doesn't mean that we have to hate dogs or abuse dogs or anything of that nature. Obviously, quite the contrary. Now, scholars say actually if you are a blind person without anyone to help you in the house and on a daily basis, it is permissible to have a walking dog for blind people to help them, direct themselves around. And that is perfectly fine and perfectly permissible. Now, generally speaking, though, dogs should not be inside of the house. Now, a lot of people in Western culture, including myself, honestly, at the very beginning, kind of have some issues with this. And we're like, what? Like, my dog sleeps in my bed, this and that. This doesn't mean that you can't have dogs at all. There's many hadith talking about dogs being used for hunting, dogs being used as guard dogs, managing herds for farms, and many other uses as well. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And like I said, growing up in Western culture, the dog is like a member of the family. You know what I mean? So at first it seems like just absolutely unthinkable, right? Why would I keep my poor dog outside? It's going to be cold out there, this and that, blah, blah, blah. All the excuses we come up with. But then, you kind of start to realize, wait, in the wild, okay, dogs aren't living in houses per se, right? So why does it have to be in the house with AC and, heat and all this other stuff? Dogs don't really necessarily need that. I mean, they have a fur coat on them and stuff like that anyways. Now, if you're talking about, I guess, like a Maltese or something small like that, maybe you could argue that point. But generally speaking, though, what I would say is that dogs in general, right, in the wild and nature and stuff like that, they're supposed to actually serve a purpose. When you leave a dog just lying around in the house, they're very unproductive and stuff like that. They just start chewing on stuff and just tearing up your house, really, especially if it's a bigger dog, right? Dogs are actually built to serve a function and be able to roam around and have plenty of exercise, which by actually locking them in your house, you are preventing them from doing their natural tendencies, which actually can be seen as a form of dhulm or oppression, right? Didn't expect to see that Uno reverse card played on you, did you? Back to normal pets, right? In the houses like cats, or in my case, a crackhead bunny. But so there aren't actually that many restrictions on pets Islamically, other than the ones specifically mentioned in hadiths and in the Quran. So as long as you take care of them in the proper manner and they're not being mistreated or oppressed in any way, there's not really any problem with it usually. Obviously, you want to make sure that you keep up with them sanitarily, that they're not like urinating or anything like that in spaces where you are meant to pray and stuff. Not sure how true this part is, but I saw a video of this on Instagram, so yeah, this must be true, right? But anyways, I heard this from one random lecture online that pets actually make dua for you because you're taking care of them, and that this dua is accepted. Not sure how true this is. You guys can let me know down in the comments below. I wasn't sure of the authenticity of that, but I just thought I'd share that because it's kind of an interesting concept, I thought. But if that's true, great. SubhanAllah, that's it's a nice concept to think that my bunny is making dua for me. You know what I'm saying? So I even say actually Bismillah before I feed her veggie salad that I usually give her, which is usually some romaine lettuce and some basil. For those of you who don't know what Bismillah means, it just means in the name of God. Usually when we eat, we say Bismillah. We eat with our right hand, and so on. Another thing to keep in mind with pets Islamically is that the food that you give them should be halal, right? So believe it or not, you are actually not supposed to feed your pets non-halal meat. They're under your supervision, so you should feed them of similar quality of what you would feed yourself or your child, right? So this concept, generally speaking, would obviously go for cats and dogs, since they eat meat. Obviously with other animals it's a little different, but my bun has to have the best of the best, and she's got to have her organic romaine lettuce from Wegmans. No, I actually I do my best to try to actually do that because I try to eat organic myself and stuff like that, so I try to reciprocate the level of care and intent with those around me. Yeah, but my bun, since she doesn't like to eat meat, or really can't eat meat, poor thing, but she likes to eat hay, obviously, and my phone chargers. Yeah, that's a lot of money going to Amazon down the drain. But anyways, we move on. Anyways, so you shouldn't feed them necessarily what you eat, because obviously we know that certain foods that we eat make other animals sick, and vice versa. Cats and other animals can eat raw meat. We cannot. So when we make our meats with all the seasonings and sauces and things like that, that can make the animals sick. Also, certain fruits and vegetables that we eat, other animals are not supposed to eat. I know avocado is a big one. Chocolate as well, obviously. Those are some of the big ones that you hear about. But one of the main things that I can advise for everybody is obviously do your own research, inshallah, on the specific animal that you are planning on getting or that you have already, so that you're not feeding them the wrong type of foods that are making them sick. And it's up to you, obviously, to have that due diligence. Overall, having a pet can be a great way of sadaqah, because each time that you feed it, you get good deeds, and you take the time to play with them and stuff like that as well. And all the money that you spend on medical care, toys, or whatever to keep them entertained, because as I said, in a way, it's like taking care of a kid in your family. And whatever wealth you spend on your family for provisions is actually a form of sadaqah according to hadith, or charity, and it also gets recorded as good deeds. So if you're financially capable and mentally capable and physically capable to take care of a pet, there's things that go into it, obviously. So it's not as simple as just picking up a pet and be like, all right, here you go, just stay in the house and I'll give you whatever. So there's a level of knowledge that you need to have and stuff like that, and capabilities. So you can't just do that. Otherwise, you may end up accidentally killing the pet. May Allah protect us from that. But it can be a great way for your kids to learn responsibility as well, taking care of something else besides themselves. But yeah, overall, like I said, guys, having a pet, even though she is an absolute menace, Lola is hilarious, very loving. What bunnies they actually do, what's kind of funny, they'll actually start grooming you. So sometimes I'm eating and stuff like that, and she'll go in like my beard and like try to like pick out like the food and stuff like that from my beard, or she'll just straight up, because for some reason bunnies don't recognize that the hair on your face or head and everything like that is actually fine being there. They think it's like not meant to be there, so they'll try to like yank on it and stuff like that, and that can hurt sometimes a little bit. Not gonna lie, she's yanked on the back of my head a few times when I was asleep. But yeah, so anyways, enough about my bun. But yeah, so if you guys like that video, please like, subscribe, and share. So I hope to bring you guys more content in the future, inshallah. I hope to see you all next week, inshallah. And As-Salamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu.